If source energy, or God, as you may prefer to call it, had a face, which it doesn't, but if it did, how would it express? What would its face look like? Now, that is the question that I had the other day when I was in a meditation, okay? So source energy or God is something that just goes beyond words to the point where you can't really retrieve the right words to explain what that energy is. I truly believe that a spark of it is it within each one of us. I truly believe that. So it's a very, very small part of it, because if we embody the whole of source energy, then it would be too much for the dense little physical body to hold. So I was intrigued what would happen, okay? So you might be intrigued by this video because there is a song, isn't there, that says if God had a face, what would it look like? So, okay, what would it look like? And this was my question, okay, the other day. So if you're aware that if you command your body, mind, your subconscious mind to do something, it will do it, okay? So say, for example, you were in a nice relaxed state. You always have to be in a nice relaxed state to do this, almost like a 0 point, a neutral state of balance, because then what you're not doing is you're not bringing in your own opinions of what something could be. You are asking the body, the subconscious mind, to show you how something would look or how something would move, okay, if you were to embody that thing. So yes, we're human beings, but you could say, for example, if you're in a deep meditative state, you could say, or if you're in like maybe a standing relaxed state and you felt nice and calm and relaxed and you were very, very open to see what would happen, you might say something like, okay, I'm nice and relaxed now. If I was a lion, how would I move? Now, you would likely say, well, if I was a lion, I would move in this way. But it's interesting to do it when you're in a relaxed, neutral state and you're asking the body, the subconscious, to show you how you would move if you were a lion, for example. You could also say, if I was the element of fire, pure fire, how would I move? You know, and then you allow the body from that state to move how it would move if it was the embodiment of fire, for example, okay? So it's the idea that every cell in your body is intelligent enough to know how it would move if it was this, for example, okay? So yes, we have the element of fire within us. That's how we digest food, and that's where our motivation and our power comes from. But if we were pure fire, how would we move? If I was the ocean, how would I move? And again, you already know, well, I'd probably move a little bit like this. But it's interesting when you command your subconscious mind to do it. It's interesting then when you're not bringing your own interpretation into it, you're allowing higher intelligence within you to do it, to show you how it would feel or how you would move if you were to embody this thing, okay? So what I did, and I'm going to try, so stay with me because I'm going to try. I'm not very good at editing videos and pictures, to be honest with you guys. If you've seen my other videos, they're quite basic, because unfortunately, I'm not great at that and I haven't got a huge amount of patience with it, but, you know, perhaps I should start telling myself that I am capable of editing videos. But I am going to try and attach the picture that I took of me expressing what I would look like if, you know, I'm going to try and do that at the end of this video. Okay, so let me just explain what happened. So I was in a nice relaxed state. I'd just done some exercise. So if you do see that, if I am able to attach this video at the end, the picture at the end of the video, I might look a bit flushed. It's because I've just done some exercise beforehand. And what I tend to like to do is I tend to do some exercise and then afterwards I'll go into a meditation, because, you know, the exercise would have sort of made me feel sort of cleansed and flexible and things like that. And then I tend to do a little meditation afterwards. So out of curiosity, I'd come into a nice relaxed state. I kept my phone handy. I know when you tend to do meditations, it's not really advisable to be having an electronics around you, certainly not your phone. However, sometimes you might need it if you're doing a guided meditation on YouTube or something like that, for example. So I had it close by, and I went into a nice relaxed state. And what I did, out of curiosity, I was nice and relaxed. I had a nice tall spine. I'd done some breath work, just some cleansing breaths and some nice relaxation breaths to really get into a state of neutrality. That's really, really important, guys. If you're going to try something like this, really get yourself into a nice balanced state of neutrality, okay? So when I felt happy, that I felt nice and calm and nice and relaxed and very open to, okay, I'm curious to see what happens here. But I thought, I'm going to need my phone close by because I'm going to need to take a picture of what this looks like, okay? So the first thing I did is I commanded my subconscious and I said, right, okay, if my higher self had a face, because the higher self hasn't got a face. We've got faces as part of our identity in this human experience, okay? I am Jenny and this is what I look like, this is my face, okay? This is how I express myself a lot of the time. When I'm happy, I look like this. When I'm sad, I look like that. When I'm, intrigued, I look like this. When I'm interested, I look like that, etc. There's certain expressions that come from certain energies, okay? The energy of emotion will give us a certain expression on our face, a stance within our body, okay? That everything has a certain expression, right? The higher self hasn't really got a face because it's just an integrated version of the highest part of our whole self, okay? So the individual personalities play out, and yes, they do have a face. I have a face, my avatar has a face, but it's the idea that the higher self goes beyond that individualized experience where it needs a face, if you see what I mean, okay? So it's more part of spirit, energy that it wouldn't necessarily have a form, a body or a face, if that makes sense, okay? So I said, right, okay, I just gently set the intention that if my higher self had a face, what would it look like, okay? So I allowed that expression to take place. And what happened is my head was sort of pulled up slightly and then tilted to the side a little bit. And there was this just very, very tranquil expression. Okay, I took a photo of it. I allowed it to sort of take it set in, whatever it wanted to do. And I just went with it. I didn't try to influence it myself, thinking, oh, if it had a face, it'd probably look like this. I just let it do what my expression wanted to do in that moment. So I did feel my head being pulled up, and I feel like the head was being pulled up because, okay, you're tuning into the higher self. So you may feel like you're being sort of pulled upwards a little bit almost, make yourself nice and grounded first of all. That's what I did. I was nice and grounded and calm. And it was sort of pulled up a little bit, and I'll attach it at the end of this video if I can, but if I can't, I'll explain to you. It was a very, very tranquil expression. I don't think I've ever seen my face that relaxed and peaceful. It almost looked as if it was very smooth. It was almost like, you might not be able to see, guys, I'm 40 years old. I'm not old, at all. I know that, but no judgments if you are. You start getting a few lines and different things in the face. I feel like in that photo, they'd all kind of fallen away. There was nothing held in my expression that was of pain, that was any old trauma, that was any type of discomfort or dis-ease. It was just complete, tranquil, relaxed expression. Okay. And when I looked at it afterwards, I thought, wow, that is just total peace, And sometimes when you see sort of imagery of what these ascended masters could look like, for example, you always see that they've just got this really calm expression, It was a little bit like that, right? So I thought, okay, that's my higher self. If it had a face, it would look like that. Very, very relaxed, very, very calm, really lovely, peaceful expression. I'll attach that first, okay? And apologies in advance if I can't get to attach. And that's why I'm explaining, first of all, what they look like, just in case I can't do it. Apologies in advance if I can't, but I will try. So next, what can I see the expression of now if I set the command, okay? If source energy or God had a face, how would it express if it did? Now, it hasn't got that because it goes beyond all form. You can never really retrieve the words that you need to retrieve to explain in words source or God. It just goes far beyond our dimensions of awareness in this physical reality. I know sometimes that it's depicted in certain religious texts and things like that, you know, he might be a man with a white hair and a white beard sat up in a throne in the sky. He's far more than that. Do you know what I mean? It's far more than that. Far, far, far more than that. But okay, if it had a face, what could it possibly look like? So I allowed that to take place, nice and relaxed. Okay, you can do this as well. I'm showing you what I did. I'm taking you through the steps of what I did so that you can try it as well and you can see what happens. Okay, if source energy had a face, what would it look like? And honestly, right, I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting what happened. So I was kind of expecting it to take the expression similar to the higher self, maybe even more relaxed, or maybe a slightly different expression, but maybe similar to that of the higher self. No, honestly, right, straight away, I couldn't stop the beaming smile that came over my face. Again, my head was pulled up, felt like it was being pulled up, and I had the biggest beaming smile on my face. And then all of a sudden I started giggling and I started laughing and I just couldn't stop smiling, and I just felt so much joy. I don't think I'd ever quite felt that. I felt like every cell in my body was pure happiness, pure love. And I was just laughing and happy and so smiling. I thought, right, I've got to get a picture of this. Again, I'll try and attach it at the end. And I took a photo, and when I looked at it, I was like, wow, that is amazing. If Source or God had a face, it would be ecstatic because it's pure Source love. Pure Source love goes all the way back to the innocence, almost the way, how can I describe it? You know, when a newborn baby, like a little chubby baby with like rosy cheeks, would smile, you know, if you're just doing something funny with it, and it just gives this beaming smile. It was kind of that vibe, you know, when like newborn babies are so pure and untainted and they've just come into the world, and they're very much still have got a foot in spirit, and they're still very much connected to their source, and they haven't forgotten it because of the conditioning of the world. It was that type of vibe, but it also reminded me, and I was like, I know straight away what this reminds me of, and now it kind of makes sense, of the laughing Buddha. Not saying I look like a Buddha, you know, not saying you look like it doesn't matter, do you know what we look like. But I thought, it's like the laughing Buddha. This is what the Buddha's expression was like, that, because it was feeling like what pure enlightenment would feel like when you transcend the duality of the suffering that we feel here on this planet, and you come into that source love and that pure enlightened feeling. And you know, I'd say source energy goes far beyond that even. And that is what the laughing Buddha would, that's why he was laughing, because he was feeling the same feelings, and it was the same expression that was on my own face. And I don't know why I didn't know that would happen, because now it would make sense that if Source or God had a face, it would be so joyful, because it doesn't buy into the illusion of this separation that us humans do. It knows that the only thing that is true is the love. And with that feeling comes that great sense of liberation and joy and ecstatic, just buzzing happiness. And that is the expression that my face took. And when I looked at it afterwards, I was like, I'm buzzing here. I mean, I'm absolutely buzzing in this picture. I don't think I've ever smiled so wide in my life. And I allowed it to take that form. I allowed it to take the expression that it wanted to take without trying to influence it. And I was not expecting to laugh, to you know, to smile so widely, and to feel so like I was just having the most fun of my life, like so much joy just in that short moment. And I'm going to try and attach these pictures at the end of the video. If I don't, that's what it looked like. And I would like to say to you, get yourself into that same relaxed state and try what I've tried. Command yourself. What would, if source energy had a face and it could express through me right now in this moment, what would it look like? Try it. And guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you again soon. Bye.